Hi, this is Dice Kimura. I'm a Skype guitar teacher, and today I'm doing a review on my Fender Deluxe Reverb. This amp is vintage. It's a 1967 Blackface, and it is pre-CVS with the desirable blue Mallory caps in the inside. And I will be explaining the components and the parts and what parts have been changed or upgraded, if any, in the amp. And also I'm going to open up the amp towards the middle of the video and show you the inside. So let's just listen to it. I'm plugging straight into the amp with a Stratocaster. Very rich, full sound. Let me just adjust that EQ just a bit. Very nice. This is just amazing lows. I've done several videos of this amp already that I have I tried them out and I put them up on YouTube with the amp turned all the way up because it sounds really great all the way up. But the sound pressure is just too much for this camera that I'm using, and it doesn't sound good on the camera. So this is at 3.5 volume. But I'll just real quick, for your sake, I'll go ahead and put the volume all the way up so you can hear how quiet the amp is. It's very quiet. That's on 10. And it works great. So, let me get into playing it a little bit more. I'm playing this with a Stevie Ray Vaughan signature Stratocaster from 1999. Very nice. I'll put a little bit of lead work for you on the front pickup. This amp, it sounds so good, and it is it's as close to all original as I've ever seen. I've been collecting and buying Blackface amps for a number of years now, and this amp, when I got it, had all original filter caps, and which is amazing. Usually those get changed out every 10 years, and they work fine. I got it serviced, and one of the filter caps I had changed, but all the rest of them are original, including the paper caps. And in the middle of this video, I'll open up the amp and show you, so you can see for yourself. The original blue caps are still intact from 1967, very desirable. Those blue caps were only in there from the years 64, 65, and 66. They used one type. In 67 they used another type of blue that was also good, but then 68 they started using these brown ones that they called the turds, that were actually not as good. And this is the original speaker from 46 years ago, and it has not blown. You can turn it all the way up, it sounds great, and that's pretty amazing too. You got the original output transformer, the original power transformer, the original rectifier. Only the reverb transformer's been changed, but that doesn't really affect your tone. Your tone comes from the power and the output and the rectifier. Yeah, so here's, I'll also have the original foot switch. Show you guys. This is the original foot switch. It works great. I'll show you the tremolo. Okay. The Fender Deluxe Reverb Blackface is definitely the most sought after amp in the world of all time. It's the most recorded amp. And a lot of people would tell you it's the best amp ever made. And the people that were telling me this, one of the persons was a gold level tech for Fender for 15 years, and he's insists the Deluxe is the best amp ever made. The parts, the manufacturing, the soldering, the point by point soldering job, the circuit board, the parts, like I already said, the parts, but the transistors, the filters, you either can't get those parts anymore, or they're so expensive to make that you just can't find them. And it sounds amazing. It handles power amazingly. This amp, it's still running great, 46 years old, and if it were to break down, it's very easy to fix and keep it running. As long as you have a tech that knows what he's doing, this amp can continue to run for years to come. Play little chords for you. had a number of Blackface amps, and I realized once I bought my first, because I'm a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. I'm playing on a Stevie Ray Vaughan signature guitar right now. The Blackface amp is the Stevie Ray Vaughan tone, by the way. You take a Blackface amp and you do the Caesar Diaz mods to it. You pull the V1 tube, disconnect the tremolo, put an EV speaker in there, and turn that sucker all the way up, and you've got Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I had to try it. I did it to believe it, and it was amazing. I couldn't. I was like, wow, sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Now, of course, nobody can play like Stevie Ray Vaughan except Stevie Ray Vaughan, but you can get that tone. It's just getting the right equipment, getting the right guitar, getting the right amp to get that kind of sizzling hot, clean but piercing tone. It's like this. It's amazing. This amp, I completely restored it to manufacturer specs. So I did pull out the V1 tube at some point while I was using it, and now for this video I've put it back, and it's completely restored to manufacturer specs. But if you do want to learn about the kind of mods that Stevie Ray Vaughan did to his Blackface amps, send me a message, and or put a comment on the YouTube, and I'll respond, because I did research it pretty heavily, and I got into it pretty extensively myself. You see, the reason these amps are so desirable too is not just the response of the bass and also the crispness of the highs and also the way that the tone breaks up when you turn it up, but it's also the sag. There's this sag that's almost like a little bit of a delay from when you hit the note to when you hear it ring from the amp. And just guitar players love that. And that's unique about the Blackfaces. They have this amazing sag. Usually I use this with a compressor, which I'm not using today, but I use it with a 1974 MXR Dynacomp scripted bud box compressor, and I also use it with a Ibanez hand-wired tube screamer. It's the 808 replica from 1978. If you're a real Blackface fanatic, you absolutely must play this with a tube screamer, a vintage one if you can, or a hand-wired. And play it with a Dynacomp. That's just, it's a must-have. I didn't really understand why when I first got into them, and so I just went out and bought the stuff. Those Dynacomps are about 300 bucks online, but I just bought it and tried it, and then I understood it. I was like, yeah, the Dynacomp tightens up that low end, and it's very desirable in the 60s Fenders and also the 60s Marshalls, with those plexis, to have that bottom then nice and tight, and then the highs and the mids kind of sizzling with that compression tone, but it's that old school analog sound. That David Gilmour, so many guitar players use that Dynacomp between the years of 1974 to 1977 was really those amazing tone years for MXR's Dynacomp. After that, well, let me not get too into that. This is just stick to the Deluxe today. But I'm obviously an enthusiast of just tone in general from that era. You see how the notes decay? absolutely gorgeous. Alright, so now I'm going to open up the amp. I'm going to show you the inside of the amp. And for you experts out there, feel free to comment. But it's pretty much all original, with the exception of just a few things, like the power cord was changed out of the ground. But it's pretty amazing. You rarely see these amps fully intact. So this is close to one I've ever seen on the market. So check it out. Okay folks, I have opened up the amp now, and I'm just going to slowly show you these components. I took all the casings off the tubes. They're all intact though, by the way. These are very nice tubes, very expensive. This right here is a rectifier tube, and that's actually a Mullard Bugle Boy. I was told that's worth about $120 used and $200 new. Very rare. Right now there's only one on eBay being sold. These two tubes are RCAs, also very nice. Plenty of life left in them. You can see the amount of shielding, and that's double-sided shielding. Plenty of life in that Mullard too. Sounds amazing. These three tubes are GE tubes. They're good too. And then this one is really nice. This is actually a RCA 7025, and those are very hard to come by. Well, hard to come by. Well, I shouldn't say that, but it's worth about 75 bucks used. And then I got some Soviet tubes over here. Usually when I play, I pull out the V1 tube. It just makes this channel hotter, but because I'm selling it, I restored it back to manufacturer specs. Let me show you these codes. Let me just turn around here. Okay. That says 606 621, and see if I can make that out, if you can focus on that one. It says, in case you can't read it, it says 606 626. And this guy over here is 606 602. And that's it. Okay, now I'm going to show you the inside of the amp. Okay, let me just be right back. Alright folks, here's the inside of the amp. As you can see, all your blue Mallory caps are the originals from 1967, which is unbelievable. Usually these caps go every 10 years, unless the amp was played a lot. The amp was played a lot, and yet the speaker is not blown. Only one of the caps was changed, one of the filter caps. Recently I had serviced by my tech, who was a Fender Gold double tech for 15 years working with Fender. And he told me these are the original paper filters as well from 1967. Okay, the only stuff that was changed on the inside of this amp was the reverb transformer had been changed when I got the amp, and then I also had it replaced as well, and it's now good as new. That really doesn't affect the drive of your tone though. Your tone mostly comes from your power transformer and your output transformer and the rectifier. But that's all the inside. Let me see if I can zoom on these pots as well. There's enough light. There we go, it's in focus. Okay, very nice soldering. You can tell by the clean soldering that this wasn't redone. This is actually the way it was left by the manufacturer. Let's look in the back of the amp. Here's just a shot of those tubes. Actually, I put the casings back on there. Here's the original speaker. It totally sounds awesome. Starts breaking up at around 4 or 5. If you're a collector, it's a lot more valuable to have the original. If you're a player, you might want to put the original in a box somewhere and get something else. That's up to you. See if I can get that paper. And this is the bottom of the amp. I'm about to just put everything back together after the video. So that's it, folks. Like I said, it sounds amazing. It's very rare you get something that's all original. For the most part original. The only thing that was changed, let me just get the foot switch, which works fine, by the way. It's just missing one of these little things, but it works. It's the reverb and tremolo. And the only thing that was changed also was the power adapter is now a 3-prong. So they added this ground at some point in the last 46 years. And that's it. So that's the amp. Sounds amazing. Just a very full-bodied tone, deep bass, very, very punchy. You can feel the velocity of the air moving. It's just not anything like a modern amp. And something like this, if you ever have a problem with it, if you know a good tech, you can. These are just, they run forever, and they can. Anything that goes wrong with it can be fixed as long as you have a good tech. That's one of the things I found that's really good about these old amps, is they built them right the first time. Alright guys, please feel free to comment, subscribe, like if you dig it, and thanks for tuning in. See you next video.